Thank you for joining us. This is TV47, the channel that gives you the most comprehensive news coverage in Kenya and even beyond. Welcome to TV47 Weekend with me, Stanley Nyuringita, on this 25th day of September 2022, a day where the two-time Olympic champion Eliud Kipchoge has once again confirmed that no human is limited after clocking 2 hours, 1 minute and 9 seconds in the Berlin Marathon. That and so much more coming up after the headlines. Tonight, tension is high in Kamuge area, Turkana East, following a banditry attack that led to the death of 10 people, including 7 GSU officers.
We are appealing to government agencies to leave these other side shows, to give us security for the people of Turkana County.
Ni watu wangapi serikali wanaongoja wauliwe Turkana ndio sasa wateke action.
All eyes are on the Supreme Court as it releases its full judgment on the presidential petition that was quashed by a unanimous decision.
We want to wait to see what this detailed ruling is going to be about.
The document could likely shape the nature of our politics in the near future. And on our special piece, we shine the spotlight on the competency-based curriculum.
We as Kenya Publishers Association had already prepared a memorandum, and what we are doing today is to continue gathering more views so that we can strengthen it. The moment that task force is appointed, we shall present that memorandum.
Even as the government is set to form a task force that will collect views from the public. And in sports, World Marathon champion Eliud Kipchoge breaks his own record at the Berlin Marathon as compatriot Rosemary Wanjiru comes second in the women's marathon on her debut, which is the second fastest debut ever. Right, good evening. Anwerimu is on the sign language docket. Keep interacting with us on our social media platforms at TV47KE, that is on Facebook and Twitter. Now we start with on a sad story where 10 people, including 7 GSU officers and a Paytom chief and former executive officer, Samburu County, have been brutally murdered after bandits attacked the police car they were in at Kamuge area at Turkana East. According to Police County Commander Samuel Ndanyi, the group was responding to a banditry attack in Namariat village at Saturday morning before meeting the death. Area Governor Jeremiah Lumurkai has sent his condolences to the family of the bereaved and called for immediate action to be taken against the perpetrators.
Fear is rife in Kamuge area, Turkana East, following a banditry attack that led to the death of 10 people, including 7 GSU officers, a chief from Paytom area, and a former executive officer in Samburu County. According to Police County Commander Samuel Ndanyi, the group that was from Lokori area were responding to a banditry attack in Namariat village on Saturday morning before meeting their death.
Mama alikuwa naenda Kamuge kuweka amani ya Waturkana na Wapokot. Waliingia kwa ambush ya Wapokot na wakaua huyo mama.
Askari ambayo wamekuja kuokoa watu hao wanauliwa. Sasa askari wakiuliwa, wale ambao wamekuja kuchunga watu, sasa ni watu nani sasa watachunga watu?
Those who sustained serious injuries from the attack, including 1 police officer, were admitted to Lodwar Referral Hospital's ICU unit.
Right now the patient is stable. He's a male of 37 years old and is stable now and ready for evacuation because he requires a cardiothoracic surgeon whom we do not have in Lodwar County Referral Hospital.
Area Governor Jeremiah Lomorukai has sent his condolences to the families of the bereaved and called for immediate action to be taken against the perpetrators.
Our need is to be addressed. We've lost a greater population of the people of Turkana East. We've lost serious personnel, security personnel. who are committed to deliver in protecting the lives of our people.
A police helicopter visited the attack site and transported bodies of the deceased GSU officers to Nairobi. Security is tight in the area as investigations into the attack are currently ongoing. Banditry attacks have become rife in the area. Less than 1 month ago, 10 residents were burnt alive in a similar attack in Napeitom village. Zainab Mohammed, T47.
Thank you, Zainab. Quite a sad story right there. Now, to what the whole world is talking about, legendary Kenyan marathoner and two-time Olympic marathon champion Eliud Kipchoge earlier today broke his own world record after finishing the Berlin Marathon first to set a new world record. This was the fourth time Kipchoge was winning the Berlin Marathon as he went level with Ethiopia's great Haile Gebrselassie in winning the competition 4 times. As sports reporter Dennis Otieno tells us how Kipchoge did it.
Let's keep an eye on the clock, just outside 2:01. Eliud Kipchoge is a history maker in Berlin. Yet again, he has done it.
Kenya's elite marathoner and perhaps the greatest marathon of all time, Eliud Kipchoge, earlier today exhibited his fine form as he broke his own record in the Berlin Marathon after finishing the 2022 edition of the race first ahead of his Kenyan counterpart Mark Korir and Ethiopia's Tadu Abake, who came in second and third respectively.
2:01.09. He has knocked 30 seconds exactly.
Kipchoge trounced his competitors to win the 42-kilometer race in a time of 2 hours, 1 minute and 9 seconds, as he surpassed his world record set in 2018 in the same venue by 30 seconds.
2, 1, go!
The results saw Kipchoge writing history by becoming the 5th athlete to ever break his own record after Britain's Jim Peters, Australia's Derek Clayton, American Khalid Khanouchi, and Ethiopia's Haile Gebrselassie.
27K, 1:16.56.
Speaking after the race, Kipchoge expressed his excitement over the results he registered, adding that he aims at improving the time he recorded since he feels young, more energetic, and ready to participate in the sport for more years to come.
I was planning to go to the 60-50, 60-40, but all in all, my legs were running actually very fast. And I thought, let me just try to run 2 hours flat. But all in all, I'm happy with the performance. Absolutely, still more in my legs are still more, and I hope future still great. Yes. Absolutely, yes. My mind is still actually thinking wise, still moving. The body actually still absorbing the trainings and racing.
Kipchoge has now won the Berlin Marathon 4 times, including in the year 2015, the year 2017 and 2018, as top Kenyan leaders led by President William Ruto and ODM chairman Raila Odinga congratulated him over his stellar performance via their social media handles.
Against the clock, with more than a minute's cushion on his world record. He ran the race of his life. The finish.
Kenyan Mark Korir was also in fine form as he raised the Kenyan flag high by finishing the race second in a time of 2 hours, 6 minutes and 58 seconds ahead of Ethiopia's Tadu Abate. While in the women's category, Kenya's Rosemary Wanjiru, who was making her debut in the race, finished second in a time of 2 hours and 18 minutes behind Ethiopia's Tigist Assefa, who won the race.
But Tigist Assefa it is the champion. 2:15.37.
Dennis Otieno, TV47, Nairobi.
A day of Berlin legends.
And true king, that one. Truly the greatest of all time. Now, something else. Drought continues to worsen in 20 out of the 23 ASL counties, with the situation threatening to leave at least 4 million people without food by December this year. Mbeere County Governor Aden Khalif urging President William Ruto to declare drought a national disaster. Andren Kilemi reports.
Samburu County is among the 20 ASL counties experiencing the devastating effects of drought that has continued to ravage some parts of the country. In Samburu East, livestock die every single day, with human beings at a risk of hunger and starvation. The worsening household food security situation has resulted in acute malnutrition rates in the county, further affecting children aged between 6 months to 5 years.
Jilali vile tunaonelea hata vile inatafuta binadamu, na hii ndio maisha tunaishi naye. Sasa ukiangalia familia ni kubwa na otherwise hakuna kitu hakuhusia.
Speaking early Sunday, Mandera County Governor Adan Khalif urged President William Ruto to declare drought a national disaster, saying the situation has affected education in the area as hungry students cannot concentrate in schools.
The World Meteorological Organization has predicted that the 5th rainy season is likely to fail. This is a life-threatening prediction for the pastoralist communities and their livelihood. The number of people in need of humanitarian assistance is currently at 500,000. This translates to half of Mandera County population. Therefore, I appeal to His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, President William Ruto, to declare the drought a national disaster.
Counties already in the alarm phase of drought include Laikipia, Tana River, Tharaka Nithi, Isiolo, Mandera, Garissa, Turkana, Wajir, Samburu and Marsabit. Another 10 counties including Embu, Kitui, Makueni, Meru, Narok, Nyeri, Taita Taveta, Kwale and Kilifi are in the alert drought phase. The remaining 3 counties including Baringo, West Pokot and Lamu are in the normal drought phase.
We need more hand to be extended, especially this period of September is the most critical period, the most dangerous period for both human and even livestock.
Statistics from the National Drought Management Authority indicating that at least 4.65 million Kenyans will be in dire need of food by December this year should the rains fail. Andrin Kilemi, TV 47.
Thank you, Kilemi. And after jetting back into the country, President William Ruto convened an interdenominational prayer and thanksgiving service at State House, Nairobi on Sunday, led by Bishop Mark Kariuki. This follows after his inauguration as the country's 5th head of state 2 weeks ago. Mwege William with that story.
President William Ruto is redefining the relationship between the church and the state. The president, accompanied by the First Lady Rachel Ruto, hosting a Thanksgiving service bringing together a number of evangelical churches and presided over by Bishop Mark Kariuki. The service held on Sunday is first of its kind to be held at State House since President Ruto took over the presidency after his swearing in on September 13th. Also present were Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, his wife and other Kenya Kwanza leaders.
We have laid out good plans and I can see there is light at the end of the tunnel. Things are difficult, but we will succeed because we have God on our side.
President Ruto attributed his win in the August 9 general election to the work of God.
There are people who are still recovering even today from our win. They never imagined this was possible.
First Lady Rachel Ruto revealed similar ceremonies of Thanksgiving prayer service will be held on a regular basis, adding that it will be a monthly event.
You will be coming here month after month to give thanks to the Lord because He has done us good. When the Lord answers your prayer, you go to give thanks. And you will not give thanks just once, but will keep coming to this altar that the fathers have laid today here in State House.
On his part, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has called upon the church to pray for him as he strives to fit into President William Ruto's shoes as the Deputy President under President Uhuru Kenyatta, saying that Ruto set extremely high standards while acting as Deputy President.
Work has to be done, and it's only God's hand that will help him through. It is not easy. We have a difficult situation.
Ruto took the oath of office on September 13th and later traveled to New York, where he made his inaugural address at the 77th UN General Assembly. This was after the president attended Queen Elizabeth II's funeral in the United Kingdom. During his visit to New York, Ruto met US President Joe Biden. Mwege William, TV 47.
Thank you, Mwege. The Supreme Court will Monday release a detailed judgment on why it upheld President William Ruto's victory and why Azimio presidential candidate Raila Odinga's case failed. The much-awaited ruling by Azimio One Kenya Coalition Party leader Raila Odinga is expected to give a blow-by-blow account of why the Azimio One Kenya Coalition case faltered and why the judges dismissed it as hot air. Odinga, who has protested against the ruling, has threatened to lead mass demos for the removal of the 7 Apex Court judges.
All eyes will be on Azimio One Kenya Coalition leader Raila Odinga on Monday when the Supreme Court releases its detailed judgment explaining why it upheld President William Ruto's victory while dismissing Odinga's petition as hot air and lacking merit.
This also turned out to be no more than hot air, and we were taken on a wild goose chase.
Odinga, while in Mombasa early last week, threatened to lead demos against the 7 Supreme Court judges, describing the ruling as judicial shame, while accusing the court of dictatorship for attempting to silence Azimio, despite criticism in some quarters.
We want to wait to see what this detailed ruling is going to be about.
Odinga's diehard supporters are still opposed to the ruling, despite the country moving on 3 weeks after the verdict. The Azimio leader says the judgment has given him a new platform to fight for democracy, putting the Supreme Court and IEBC on notice.
We can lead a 1 million march to the judiciary to say, "Kwendeni nyumbani." And they would have no choice but to go home. So the judiciary should not threaten, blackmail the people of this country after they have done the message that they've done.
In what will be a written judgment, the 7 Supreme Court judges will be answering the key 8 issues framed by the court in detail on why Azimio's case fell flat for lack of credible evidence, why IEBC was exonerated from misdeeds in managing the poll, whether the election was interfered with, and Ruto's victory meeting the 50% plus 1 constitutional threshold, in which the court was in consonance with IEBC. Apul Kamau, TV47.
And we'll obviously be keeping you up to speed on what will be happening and a breakdown of all those plethora of the ruling by the Apex Court tomorrow. Remember, this particular ruling will be given via email at 2:30 p.m. East African time, obviously, so keep around for that. Now, to one of our special pieces tonight. The pain of losing elections is yet to sink in many politicians who lost the August polls. Many who we spoke to have spent into tunes of millions but ended up losing. But how does that feel? Mike Kagongo spoke to a few who lost and those who won to understand the costly affair in Kenyan politics and find the story, power and brokers.
Every 5 years, Kenyans go to the polls to elect new leaders who serve mostly for a 5-year term. The 6 leadership positions, namely President, Governor, Member of National Assembly, Senator, Woman Representative and MCA, attract thousands of hopefuls due to the mouth-watering pay and allowance packages that come with them. To get those positions, some go to extreme limits, among them causing fights, as their supporters push for the election. Others use shortcuts to land nomination slots and continue with the same tricks during the general election so as to emerge victorious. A big number of those who happen to win political seats spend most of their time pursuing their interests, even forgetting the roles they were elected to play in the first place.
You know, as a politician, once you've entered politics, usually it happens that most of your constituents will always try to depend on you to solve some of their personal problems. And these personal problems span from things like funeral bills, hospital bills, education, people trying to even do personal development like houses. the ultimate expectation for these individuals is always that a politician will solve their personal problems.
As such, voters have lost faith in their leaders, majorly electing them for a 5-year term.
It's common knowledge that all politics is local. And the functions of a legislator are 1, representation, 2, oversight, 3, legislation, and 4, appropriation. So I think that if you overlook representation and oversight, the chances of being re-elected get narrow. Because the people don't feel represented and they don't feel that you are taking good care of their resources.
Without going to a second chance is because when we have unity of interest, unity of working together as a people, that's what makes somebody to be elected once without going to the second part.
In order to be elected a member of county assembly, a candidate has to spend a lot of money, in some instances more than 6 million shillings to be elected. The Constitution of Kenya 2010 established a Salaries and Remuneration Commission to set and review the salaries of state office holders in the context of fairness across the board. In a new regulation, the Commission has proposed new figures. In a Gazette Notice number 8796 by the Salaries and Remuneration Commission, effective from the financial year 2022-2023, the President will be taking home a basic salary of 866,250 shillings with a number of allowances ranging from house allowance amounting to 350,000 shillings, medical allowance of more than 10 million shillings annually, as the President's gross salary being of 1.4 million shillings, an upward adjustment of 227,400 shillings. For the second in command Deputy President will bag a gross salary of 1.2 million shillings, with a house allowance of 300,000 shillings and the salary adjustment being of 190,875 shillings. Both the President and Deputy President shall be provided with official transport in line with the prevailing government transport policy. As for the Member of Parliament, a salary increase of 134,000 shillings has been considered by SRC, with a gross salary tabulating to a total of 710,000 shillings and a house allowance of 150,000. MPs will also get a number of benefits: a motor vehicle reimbursement of 7.5 million for purchase of a car of engine capacity not exceeding 3,000 cc to undertake official duties as a Member of Parliament. However, for serving MPs, a number of benefits have been quashed, among them mileage and sitting allowance.
Money is very critical because money will give you some mileage, especially logistics. You need to travel, you need to traverse the county, you need to traverse your constituency to reach to the people and talk to them and sell your manifesto. So you have no money, you can't go. You need the cars, you need the fuel, you need so many other things. You need to brand yourself, you need wearables, you need t-shirts. And that's the way you can advertise yourself, and all that things gets into money. Money is a serious issue that you need as a politician. So you cannot just run away from money.
At the county level, the governor will be receiving a gross salary of 924,000 shillings, an upward adjustment of 169,600 shillings, with the deputy governor pocketing a gross salary of 621,250 shillings with a house allowance of 100,000 shillings, as the two receive vehicles from the state for commutants' purposes. At the county assembly, an MCA is allocated a house allowance of 45,000 shillings, with the gross salary being 144,375 shillings per month. A series of benefits will be availed to MCAs. SRC has abolished some benefits and allowances, including transport facilitation benefit in the form of a car grant and sitting allowance for plenary sessions. What is the reasoning behind an MCA candidate spending over 6 million shillings during campaigns, only to be paid 144,000 shillings and an MP candidate spending more than 50 million shillings on the campaign trail to be paid 710,000 shillings per month.
My side money did not help me. I was elected because people wanted me to serve them. And from the previous what I've been doing to them, that's why they elected me. So if money was a factor, I don't know. But to me, I know people elected me because they know my potentiality. I can't really estimate, but it could be more than 2 million. Yeah, for campaign materials. And then, of course, there are other monies that you can't quantify. So normally, campaigns you cannot really do without money. But now the challenge, the biggest challenge is now the money that you need to bribe the voters. That one I didn't choose.
Nilitumia takriban shilingi milioni 6 ama labda zaidi. Milioni 6 na zaidi. Sasa unajua ukitaka uishi vizuri kwenye siasa, hizi hesabu za siasa za mapeni usiweke rekodi. Don't keep records of your expenditures in politics. Kukienda vibaya vile kumeenda vibaya, mimi unaweza kupata wazimu. Ama mkupuko wa kapanda, damu ikachemka, pressure zikapanda. Kwa hivyo nakisia kwamba ni zaidi ya shilingi milioni 6 kwa sababu sina rekodi kamili, and it's not advisable as a politician to keep records.
We are not able to, to keep records and quantify the amount of money that we use. We are not able to tell how much I would tell you 10 million, it would be a lie. I would tell you 20 million, it would be a lie. But I spent, a considerable amount of money, probably all my life saving. I am here to do an audit, to be very honest. I like being very honest because in my election, I had a lot of in-kind donations. And this basically means that most of my friends were helping me with things like logistical support. So somebody will donate for you a car, somebody will donate for you a fuel for card, a card for fuel, and somebody will donate for you things like merchandise, which actually is the biggest part of any campaign. Logistics and merchandise are the biggest part for our campaign. So I'm here to do that audit, but on average, I think for somewhere like Mbeere County, where I was vying this time around, I think that I did not spend. The average could be if once I do my entire audit, because it's actually a requirement that you need to do an audit in 3 months after the election and submit it to the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. So I'll do that, but I think that I'm projecting an average of about 10 to 15 million.
Politics across the world is money driven. The only thing that there's need for transparency on the sources of that money. If you saw the recent elections in the US were extremely expensive. But people know money has been donated by this and that. But now in Kenya, the difference is that most of the money financing politics is criminal. It's money that has gotten from criminal enterprises, and there's non-disclosure of who is supporting who. So that you end up with people coming, you take their money, then you elect them, and they are captive to forces you don't understand.
In Kenya, campaign financing laws and regulations are rarely enforced. Some new rules were recently proposed, but politicians are keen to avoid discussing electoral expenditure. They know that winning elections is more about spending money and then making money than worrying about constituents' well-being or coming up with a compelling political ideology. However, access to Kenya's political spheres is based on affluence rather than passion or aptitude.
Basically, I can say each constituency is different from the other. You cannot have a perfect fit. So the issue of campaigns varies from one constituency to another. So na unajua hii ni kuchipanga na siasa lazima uchipanga. So depending on the dynamics that are there in your constituency, you need kuchipanga so that at least you are able to handle those dynamics. So the issue of money in a campaign, it has been with us since independence, and I doubt whether it will disappear. Okay, in some instances, the electors are also nowadays very clever, so they can sometimes say, let us assist someone because they have have a good policies, although they don't have money, but they just say, let us assist so that we see whether they can be able to deliver. So
we worked very hard. I was a very hard-working candidate. I would not lie that I was sleeping. I was doing 5 churches a Sunday. I was doing 10-15 meetings a night because I was using the philosophy of a person with a tractor and another one who was digging with a hoe. If you have a tractor, you can wait until the rains are coming. If you are digging with a hoe, you have to start early. So I was working hard because I may not have the money that was standing for me.
Former Siboti MCA in Bungoma County's Bumula constituency wa Musai Simiyu says besides a politician having money for campaigns, their party boosts election chances.
Kwa hivyo katika siasa za Kenya, siasa za magharibi na hususan siasa za Bungoma, chama kinachangia pakubwa sana. Na kama ni Bungoma, chama cha Ford Kenya na chama cha UDA kwa sasa ndivyo vyama ambavyo vimeshamiri na kukita mizizi katika kaunti ya Bungoma.
If you have a leader who is working, because we have good leaders and bad leaders. If you get a good leader, it's only fair that you give that person an opportunity. But basically, even for those who lost this election, you know that most of those who lost in this election are good leaders who made bad political decisions. They joined the wrong political parties.
Like me, I was elected on a small party which I formed just before the elections because I found that I could not fit in either Azimio or Kenya Kwanza. And so I formed my own small party called the National Reconstruction Alliance. And I was able to fight the wave of Azimio in Busia successfully and succeed. But if I had gone maybe to ODM, I would even have not needed to campaign. I would just have had a free ride. But I saw that I did not have accommodation full accommodation in Azimio. Either they have full accommodation in Kenya Kwanza. So I said, let me do it my own way.
What causes politicians to be elected for one term and get thrown out?
Swala kwamba viongozi kuhudumu muhula mmoja tu na kungolewa. Lipo na ni wazi kwamba kama alitoweza kushughulikiwa litakita mizizi, na swala hili si zuri kwa sababu lina haribu mwelekeo wa maendeleo, linaharibu mipangilio ambayo kiongozi ameweka katika uongozi wake, kwa sababu kuna mambo ambayo, kuna azima ambayo nilikuwa nayo, kuna ndoto ambayo nilikuwa nayo, na kuna mipangilio ambayo tayari nilikuwa nishaipanga.
Over 80 senators and MPs never made it to the 4th Senate and 13th Parliament respectively. The non-re-election of leaders greatly affects development projects initiated during their time in office.
Well, the only problem is that the one-term MP, being serving for one term usually cuts short, there's no institutional memory carried forward. And you'll see like those constituencies that have a culture of one term sometimes lag behind, or people go there and they feel that, okay, I only have one term, therefore why should I work? Why don't I use the one term to do my own things? Yet when you have re-election is a possibility, then you find that people tend to want to work hard so that they can go back.
So I believe whoever has been elected needs to plan within those 5 years so that whichever projects he comes up with are the ones that he's able to finish, so that when we are seeking the other term, at least the projects that were done with it, that had been proposed within this current term, we are through with them.
Kidogo tunapochukua hatamu za uongozi tunasahau kwamba kuna watangulizi wetu, kuna kazi ambayo ilikuwa imeratibiwa na hata fedha kutengwa. Na unapoingia afisini, mara nyingi viongozi wengi anaingia kwa pupa na kufikiria kwamba mawazo ya wengine si muhimu. Na anapoanza kuratibu kazi, anaratibu kazi na kubagua kazi ambazo tayari zishatengwa, baratibiwa, kwa sababu anaona kwamba ni maono ya mtu mwingine.
According to Busia Senator Okoiti Omtata, there is a need for awareness to be created among voters so as they get to understand the importance of continuity in leadership.
But also what I'm saying is that sometimes we lack political education for people to know the roles of the various offices, and such that people then vote for you expecting this, and when they don't get, they can get frustrated. There's a general perception that a member of parliament or an MCA, a member of the county assembly, is a local cash box. Is not who attends to emergencies and whatever, not knowing that these are supposed to be functions of the state. And even school fees, the people expect you to pay and things like those. So usually I don't think people have understood the role that legislators and legislatures play in the political polity.
IBC shows that we have got 22 million voters in Kenya. That means that there are 8 million people who did not vote, who could have gone either way. That means that the country is extremely divided on different political organizational lines as well as different tribal lines. But there is no anywhere where you can foster nationalhood as well as brotherhood as well as lasting peace without fostering unity among the people. And that unity, as my party leader, the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga has always said, that unity will always go with truth and reconciliation.
Some of the constituencies where MPs have served for only one term include Teto in Nyeri, Bumula in Bungoma, and Cherangani in Trans Nzoia County. Now, Kenyan voters have the next 5 years to gauge whether they will vote for the current crops of leaders come 2027. But to put it simply, if you want to win a political position in Kenya, be rich and spend big. The more you spend, the greater your chances of winning. Mike Kagwongo, TV 47, Nairobi.
At Streisand School of Medical Health Science and Technology, we prepare the change makers of tomorrow by training them in theater technology, medical engineering, science laboratory and health records, applied biology, environmental health science, nutrition and dietetics, ICT, counseling psychology, and many more. Enroll with us today and take a certificate or diploma course. Visit our campuses in Juja, Nairobi West, Kisumu, and Homa Bay and get your career going.
Usiyakubalie maumivu ya misuli kukatiza ratiba yako. Kaluma Pain Balm ni dawa ya kusugua iliyotengenezwa kutoka kwa miche maalum ili kutuliza maumivu ya misuli. Kaluma Pain Balm. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
This fall, a new dawn rises in the Kenyan entertainment scene.
Disability is not only limited to physical disorder, but also mental issue. From depression.
I was under depression for like 2 years.
Bipolar.
Bipolar disorder is a mood disorder.
And even suicidal thoughts.
When I was just about to hang myself, a certain voice just talked to me, and I believe that was God. I tried suicide more than 6 times.
Beyond the Limit has gone beyond its limit to find answers so as to help everyone go through life with ease. Join Muthoni Maina every Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Starting this September at 8:30 p.m. on Tuesday, The Realtor brings it all to perspective. We identify a property, discuss and demonstrate the journey towards ownership.
Professionals who have integrity, and from their catalog you can easily read that these are professionals who are able to deliver.
Everywhere you go, you have to up your games, you have to go with the trends.
Not forgetting the margins as well as the risks that come along.
The runaway prices of the land.
we are saying that it's something that we can never go without mentioning. Any developer will not go without mentioning the price of land.
Don't miss out. Do you want the latest news on farming? We've got the WikiLeaks for you. Get it? No? Well, okay. Every week, we give you insights on different farms, from crop farming to animal keeping.
They're very hardy insects, yeah? The larvae is a very hardy insect.
We look forward to having an optimum production in maybe about 5 years. Yes. Yeah.
So we plant every week and we harvest every week.
Join Violet Njoki every Sunday at 6:30 p.m. as we skooma the wiki.
It's not all the time you have to read your farm. Sometimes it's of benefits.
Well, thank you for your patronage so far. Keep talking to us on our social media platforms at TV47KE in Facebook and Twitter. Now, soil millers in Nakuru have called on the government to lift the ban on moratoriums on logging in a bid to spur economic revival of the sector. The multi-billion shilling sector had collapsed after the government imposed a moratorium in 2018, blocking millers from harvesting trees from gazetted forests.
According to Timber Manufacturers Association Treasurer Zakayo Maina, the move will create more jobs for residents in the county who are fully dependent on the trade.
Sasa tunataka tuwe na ile kitu tunaita bottom up na hii shamba system. Hata hawa watu wasaidiwe na kuni ili kila mtu awe na pesa mfukoni. Na tukiwa na pesa mfukoni, hata hali ya kufanya uhalifu itakuwa imedidimia kwa njia hii na ile nyingine.
Speaking in Nakuru, Maina, while welcoming the move by Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua on reverting to the shamba system, said that the move will boost food production in the country as well as create more jobs.
Mimi najua hii serikali mpya itatuangalia ili tu revive hii kazi yetu, hii industry yetu ya bao na tuendelee na ile shamba system na maneno itakuwa mzuri.
According to Maina, despite planting trees and preserving the forest, the introduction of the moratorium was a surprise that led to the loss of millions of shillings.
Sasa, it is more than 2 billion. What we had invested in this farm was a lot of money, but now it's just a shell, which is very bad.
Maina said allowing people to engage in the shamba system will be beneficial to locals who are dependent on the program for the livelihood, sentiments echoed by Joseph Magara, one of the lumberjacks in Nakuru.
Wale walisema wanapanda miti, hakuna miti imepandwa. There is a big backlog katika forest zetu katika hii nchi yetu. Na sasa ndio tunasema serikali ambayo iko iruhusu wananchi waingie huko tulime na tuingie katika ile shamba system. Watu watakuwa na chakula, watakuwa na maharagwe, watakuwa na mahindi, na watakuwa na shida ya kusema ati wanataka unga ya shilingi 90, wanataka unga ya 100, wanataka unga kwa sababu mtu ako na ile chakula. Sasa ukiwa na chakula wewe umeshimba.
Kwa hivyo tungependa serikali iweze kutishikilia na ishikilie nchi yote. Manake sasa serikali yenye tuko nayo tunasema na president wa nchi yetu anasema kuanzia chini tuinue watu kutoka chini kwenda juu.
Chichi Josephine, TV47.
Right, thank you, Chichi Josephine, for that. Now to another special piece tonight. Education stakeholders are saying it is too late to discard the competency-based curriculum since there are learners who have studied under the new curriculum for 6 years. The sentiments coming at a time when President William Ruto promised Kenyans that his government will set up a task force to look into the challenges experienced with that curriculum. And as many are confused as to which direction the CBC will take, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has assured Kenyans that the curriculum will not be scrapped off. Here is our senior education reporter, Sharon Baranga, with the story.
It has been 6 years since the implementation of the competency-based curriculum CBC began in the country, but many parents are yet to grasp what the CBC is all about. For instance, parents of learners at Kari Primary School in Kisii County are concerned with the direction the new curriculum is taking, most of them confessing that they do not understand the most important aspects of the curriculum, even though their children are at a stage where they are preparing to join junior secondary school in 2023.
Tuko na changamoto kwa sababu saa zingine sisi kama wasasi huwa tunachanganyikiwa kwa sababu hatujaelewa kuhusu hii CBC sasa.
Kwa CBC vile mwenzangu alisema ni kama inachanganya kidogo. Hatujaelewa vizuri.
Tayari tuko na PP1 na PP2 ambayo haikukuweko. Je, tutaendelea na hiyo? Pili ni wale wanafunzi ambao wanatoka katika primary kuenda junior secondary wa kidato cha 6. Je, wametoshea umri wa kuenda sekondari na wanaweza kuenda mashule za mbali? Na je, tutaendelea kukua na hizi shule ambazo za nationals ama tutarudi kukua na shule za day schools, tutoe shule za mabweni? Kwa hivyo mimi nataka kuambia Wakenya wote wajitayarishe kutoa maoni kuhusu hiyo CBC. Lakini njia ni mbili tu ama tatu. Either tuibakishe vile ilivyo saa hizi, ama tuiondoe kabisa, ama tuipige msasa ili iweze kuingizwa ndani ya 844.
Since its inception, implementation of the CBC has suffered teething issues, with some education stakeholders dismissing the curriculum, saying it was rushed. Parents weighed in on the matter, claiming the curriculum was too complex and expensive. Some even called for the removal of the curriculum, but the government remained adamant that CBC was here to stay.
This is actually the way to go, so that when a child leaves school in after Form 4, you don't have to be saying, oh, I passed to go to university. Which university? You go and create a company and employ the beggars who went to university and employ hundreds of them. Because you will be talented, you'll be a film director, you'll be a music director, and you can be employing them as grandchildren at about 1% of your income or even less. That's the life that our children must now consider, rather than saying, let me pass well so that I go to the university, so that I get a certificate, so that I stay for 20 years, so that I can get a job. I think that is a bit stupid, don't you think so?
What does it mean to operationalize CBC? Because the intention of CBC is good, but what does it really take for us to achieve CBC? So it's not just enough to say that we really want to implement CBC, but do we have the intention to put in what it takes for us to achieve CBC?
To tweak and do certain things, that's not now my business. Are we together? For example, if they were to say that, okay, let CBC be only in day schools, or as long as CBC is there, because my main concern has been that leave CBC alone, because in my considered opinion, it has brought the children back to their parents. There is a conversation between the parents and the children.
Last year, former President Uhuru Kenyatta appointed Professor Fatuma Chege to head the new state department in the Ministry of Education that would oversee the implementation of the CBC. The task force was set up to look into the issues affecting the delivery of the CBC.
Which, of course, the bigger report has never been put public, and that also raises a lot of concerns. The task force took too long, close to 2 years, before its report was out. And again, when the report was out, it was full of recommendations, so many of them, and you wouldn't really tell where to start or not. So some of us have argued that perhaps the task force failed to provide a very, very solid framework of how to move on. Because if you just provide many recommendations, I think there are more than 100 recommendations. You don't know whether to implement recommendation number 68 or that configuration of recommendation number 46, 78, and maybe 105. It becomes a big issue.
Is a practical curriculum. Na tunahitaji hiyo practicability katika generation ile tunaishi. Lakini pia tunahitaji kuangalia implementation yake. Na kitu ya kwanza ni kuangalia kuweka resources zile zitafanya CBC ikue inafanyika bila wasiwasi. Kwa sababu CBC saa hizi vile iko inagawanya wa maskini na watu wale wadosi.
simply because shule za kawaida haziwezi pata mahali ya kucheza basketball, haziwezi pata mahali penye wako napata hizi resources zile zinahitajika kwa applicability ya hiyo CBC curriculum. Lakini tunahitaji serikali ikae chini iweke resources kwa shule ili kusikue na shida ya implementation ya CBC.
BAMBA anakuwa amri jeshi mkuu wa majeshi yote ya ulinzi ya Kenya.
In his speech immediately after being sworn in as president, William Ruto promised Kenyans that his government will set up a task force to look into the challenges experienced with the curriculum. His deputy Rigathi Gachagua has assured Kenyans that the curriculum will not be scrapped off.
Our new government will very soon be unveiling a task force to look at educational reforms, including CBC, with a view not of abolishing it, but reviewing it so that we retain what is good and improve what is causing concern. So we ask the people of Kenya, when that team is unveiled and is going around the country, please don't just complain at home and in market centers. Turn up and present your views of what you think should be done to improve CBC and the entire educational center.
Public participation is critical in this matter. I will establish an education reform task force in the presidency, which will be launched in the coming weeks. It will collect views from all players in line with the constitutional demand of public participation, and we are particularly alive to the anxieties of parents on the twin transition of the last 844 class and the first CBC class in January next year. I assure all that there will be a solution to the matter before then.
To come, we share. We have all
The Kenya Publishers Association, KPA, has asked President William Ruto to move with speed and appoint a task force that will review the competency-based curriculum and give recommendation on the curriculum. The association wants to be part of the task force appointed by President Ruto if the need arises.
We as Kenya Publishers Association had already prepared a memorandum, and what we are doing today is to continue gathering more views so that we can strengthen it. The moment that task force is appointed, we shall present that memorandum. And we also look forward to actually being part of that task force because we are key stakeholders in the area of curriculum, rollout, implementation. We have done books right from PP1 through to grade 7.
The publishers say there is need for President Ruto to retain CBC, saying education system needs regular changes after every 5 to 10 years.
I want to mention just 3 areas that we feel should be looked into. One is training, intensive, let me call it, intensive training of teachers on CBC. Training was done. But from the views that we have gathered from the teachers that we work with, especially those who have written books, it could have been better. We believe that from what we have gathered, it was done through what we may call a crash program. So if it is more intensive, teachers will have the opportunity to understand, appreciate CBC, and therefore, even at class level, they will deliver better. Another area, and I mentioned it, is the sensitization of the general public, and especially the parents. The parents have been demonizing CBC, especially on social media, and we do not blame them. We say we are also parents, and we know the work that sometimes our learners bring home. But the sensitization should be in the sense that let us appreciate that learning does not start and end in the classroom.
Kwa hivyo sisi kama KUPPET tumeuliza kwamba tuweze kupewa slot katika hiyo task force ili tuweze kutoa maoni yetu kama walimu. Lakini naweza kusema hivi, sio tu maoni ya walimu, lakini tunataka maoni ya Wakenya wote na washikadau wote. wawe ni wazazi, wawe ni walimu, wawe ni wale watu ambao wako katika idara mbalimbali, lakini tusahau pia maoni ya wanafunzi wenyewe, sababu hakuna elimu ama curriculum yoyote ya elimu ambayo inaweza faulu kama haitakubalika na serikali, haitakubalika na wanafunzi, haitakubalika na wazazi, haitakubalika na walimu, na pia haitakubalika na wananchi kwa jumla. Kwa hivyo hii task force itawezesha sisi kuweka maoni yetu pamoja ili kuweza kujua tutaenda mbele namna gani.
On the other hand, universities have been challenged to employ their expertise in research to help improve education systems that include the competency-based curriculum.
Perhaps it is high time that when the task force will be going round, University of Embu should not be left behind to give its views, the views from philosophical point of view, because when you are conceiving an education system, the philosophy under which you conceive it is very important.
There are a few things that need to be really structured, and one of it has to be, how do we really look at what we want to implement in terms of the curriculum reforms? I think the debate on the education that we want must still be active. It must never stop. We must sit in town halls. It's a normative discussion. We cannot make it a positivist that it has to work this way or the other way. We must continue engaging at all times, continue engaging universities and faculties of education, different teacher training institutions to really get involved in terms of really understanding what is it that we are putting on the table in terms of curriculum reform.
Meanwhile, education stakeholders are saying it is too late to scrape off the new curriculum since there are learners who have studied under it for 6 years. They instead advise the government to look at the issues affecting the curriculum and focus on finding solutions.
The teacher-people ratio, because the CBC is an approach which requires almost some individual attention. We are trying our level best, but if we could improve that ratio, then at least we'll be good to go.
Masuala ambayo yanaweza kuangaliwa ni jinsi ya kuweza kufanya ile assessment, how they are assessing the learners, because the mode of assessment probably could be not favoring some of the learners.
Tunatarajia wanafunzi wa shule za msingi kujiunga nasi, lakini changamoto tulio nayo ni kwamba hatujapewa vifaa maalum vya kuweza kupokea watoto.
Mfumo huu ulianzishwa na umeenda mpaka grade ya 6 na hauwezi kutupiliwa tu mbali hivyo, kwa sababu watoto hawa waliosoma watapelekwa wapi na hawana chochote pengine, na yale masomo yametolewa, vitabu ilitolewa. Kwa hivyo ni mbinu tu mwafaka inatakana kutafutwa.
And as members of parliament, we are going to put our foot down and make sure that we are going to look into this issue of CBC and make some amendments, and if need be, we scrap it all together and refer back to the 844 system.
In 2023, the pioneer class of the CBC will be joining junior secondary schools. Sharon Baranga, TV47.
Thank you, Baranga, for that comprehensive report. Now, 3 people have allegedly died and several others lost their sight after consuming illicit brew in Sianyi village, Mbeere North sub-county in Embu County. Mbeere North MP Geoffrey Ruku has, however, accused the police officers of Siakago police station of colluding with operators of illicit brew. This story was produced by Andrew Juma. In Sianyi village, Mbeere North sub-county, Embu County, the illicit brew has claimed the lives of 3, with reports emerging that others have lost their sight.
Sasa jana tukashikwa na pumbwazi ya kwamba tulishikwa na pumbwazi kubwa wakati tulisikia tumepoteza watu 3. Mmoja akiwa my cousin anaitwa Ngarao, mwingine mwalimu alikuwa ananisomesha Kitibora anaitwa Bwana Kang'ethe na wengineo. Pia mwingine mmoja tukapeleka hospitali jana, mimi nilikuwa kwanza, anaitwa Njagi, cousin yangu kutoka huko hapa Sianyi ambaye amepoteza macho.
Residents of Sianyi complained that unlicensed bars had mushroomed in the area, and this had presented itself as a big problem to the youth and school-going children.
Tumejaribu kuongea na serikali watuondolee hizi bar, kwa sababu hizi bar zinauza pombe ambayo si halali. Ile ambayo tunasikia inatengenezwa hapa Siakago na watu fulani wale ambao wako hapa. Tulikuwa wakati mwingine na mfurugano kubwa wakati polisi wa Siakago walishindwa na kutoa hiyo pombe hapa, kwa kuwa na polisi kutoka Embu wakuja wakatoa hiyo pombe tena hapa nyuma wenyewe wakaanza pia kuuza baada ya wiki moja. Sasa tunashindwa tukiwa wakazi wa Sianyi, kwani tumekuwa namna gani hapa?
The area member of parliament, Geoffrey Ruku, has threatened to lead a peaceful demonstration if the security apparatus will not intervene.
But if the police are the one breaking the law, then we need a very serious cleanup as far as this area is concerned. We will not want to have, a very confrontational approach.
Tunalilia serikali yetu tukufu, aswa ile tulichagua ya Kenya Kwanza kwa ya Ruto ikuja itutetee na kukuja angalia maneno, kwa sababu wako hapa wengi sana, hakuna kazi wanatufanyia.
Mbeere North Deputy County Commissioner Ann Mitema has however dismissed claims that the deaths were caused by alcohol, adding that a post-mortem will have to be carried out to ascertain the cause of death.
We want to hear things are different within 3 days from today. If that is not going to happen, we will come. Hawa wanabiashara wanafanya kazi pamoja, wanauza hizo pombe pamoja na security team hapa Siakago. Kwa hivyo tunasema jameni, wakati wa kufanya maneno olera ilikuwa ya serikali hiyo ingine ambayo